All right, so for today's video, we are going to be taking a look at some NWS cable cutters. Now, I believe these come in at about 8.5 inches in length, and they make two different sizes of these. One is I believe it's a 6 to 6.5 inch, and then the 8 to 8.5 inch version, which you see here. Now, as always, I always try to get the insulated versions of tools if it is possible. So I did get the insulated version of these. Now, if you are not looking for the insulated version, they do also have just a standard comfort grip version if that's going to fit you better. Now, like most NWS pliers, they come with these two little nubs here on the bottoms of the handles, and those are for a tether attachment that they make. So if you're working at height with the tool and you want to tether it off, so if you accidentally drop it or think you put it in your tool bag and you don't, you can have a tether on there so the tool doesn't fall down to the ground. And they also make a non-contact voltage tester that goes on the tool. I believe that the non-contact voltage tester is about $15 to $20, and the tether attachment runs about $2 to $5 depending on where you go. Now, these being insulated 1000 volt rated, they have the traditional yellow and red color scheme for the handles, but NWS does throw a little bit of gray in there kind of to make it their own. And then you have some certifications here on the handles that the tool went through to prove that it can withstand 1000 volts. And like I've said before, with insulated tools, I believe they test them up to 10,000 volts, but they rate them for 1000 volts. And NWS, if you're unfamiliar with them, they are a German brand of tool. They make quite a few different hand tools. There's quite a few different companies out there that rebrand their tools, and they are, from my understanding, pretty much all made in Germany. So these are not an exception. So you got the made in Germany on the handle, and then you also have it stamped into the forging on the tool as well. And then if you open up the inside of the handle, you have some more of those certifications and some more warnings and things like that on the inside. And then coming up here, you have, I believe, which is your batch and the year that the tool was produced, if I'm not mistaken. So it looks like this one may have been produced in 2025. I believe that's what that is, for basically to identify how old the tool is. You've seen plenty of the insulated tools that I've reviewed here on the channel before, where they have had all different kinds of date codes on them, so that's just, for you to be able to tell how old the tool is, and if it's something you use very frequently, if that's something you want to look at replacing. Now, you also have a barcode on the back of the handle. That's pretty much, from what I've seen for all the German hand tools, or at least some German pliers, that's pretty much standard. They all seem to put a barcode on the back of the hand tool. I'm not sure if that's for checkout purposes. For over in Europe, for when they come in like the SBA style of packaging, or the retail packaging where they're just ready to go on the shelf. I'm not sure if that's what that is for, but these do feature it. And then you also have a bolt on the back of this, so if you wanted to, I'm sure you could loosen that bolt up and loosen up these pliers, or tighten them up if you wanted to. Now, these cutters are for cutting copper and aluminum, so if you have anything else and you're trying to cut it with these, you might not want to cut it with those, because you may or may not end up damaging the cutting knives or dull the cutting knives on here a lot faster than they are intended to be. Now, on this side of the cutting edge, it's a little bit different than the other side. You see on the back here, it's just kind of that smooth, curved cutting edge, whereas on this side of the cutting edge, you have kind of like, I would assume it's like a shear, or a kind of like a step cut on there to get, for when you're cutting multiple conductors, kind of get a nice cleaner cut. And then at the front, you kind of have those two shear cuts on the front, kind of has that, I wouldn't say it's more of a straight design. It's kind of got that curve to it. It's kind of a weird curve to it, but it does have it on the front. From what I've done with these pliers, I typically, if I want to strip a conductor with these, I would strip it with the knives at the front, and then if you want to, obviously you want to cut the conductor, you move it back, just to get a little more leverage in the hand. So that's pretty much it for the detail on these. I guess we can get to some of the functionality. Now, these guys are a little bit stiff. I don't think these are quite broken in as some of the other NWS pliers that I have, but if you give the handle a good shake, they do want to pop open. It's kind of about when you get to about right here is where they kind of start to get a little bit stiff, so I'm not sure if that's metal just a little bit thick in that in a certain area, or if that's something that'll break free over time, but that is something that I did notice with these. And they also have a curved handle to kind of fit nicely in your hand, kind of like almost like some of the different wire strippers out there. They all have that curve in the handle, so it kind of fits a lot nicer in your hand. So we'll go ahead and bring in some wire and go ahead and cut it. So we're going to first start off with some MC. This is a 2 conductor and a ground there on the inside. So we'll go ahead and put those in there and give it a nice cut. See, it is nice with that long handle design and with that curve. You are able to get quite a bit of leverage, and you are able to do it with one hand. And these are able to chomp through that MC wire fairly easily. So we'll go ahead and move those out of the way, and we'll bring in some 10 gauge stranded wire, and we'll go ahead and left the ferrule on there from one of the ferrule crimping videos on there. So we'll go ahead and chop that off of there, and it plows right through that 10 gauge wire. And then, like I said, I like to use the front jaws on this plier. This is something I like to do with, 10, 8, and 6 gauge wire is I'll either use a pair of lineman pliers, or if I have a pair of cable cutters, I like to strip the wire with that. Everybody's different, so you can do it like that, and you can pull off that insulation there. A little bit harder to do on that 10 gauge wire, but you can do it. And if you don't like how you strip that one, you just chop it off and you do it all over again, and you can pull off that insulation. And you have a nice clean strip all the way around. Now, if you're going to use a pair of cable cutters to strip some wire, you just want to be careful with it. You don't want to go too deep into that wire and start nicking up those conductors. I got some 12 gauge wire with the ferrule still on it, so might as well cut those off. And that's pretty much with pretty clean cut, I would say, with that serrated edge on the front. And we'll see if we can get the camera to focus on the wire. And of course, kind of hard to do, but it is a fairly clean cut. You can move your finger across there, and it's not like that jagged cut that you get with a pair of, if you're using like a pair of diagonal cutters or a pair of lineman pliers, where it kind of just pinches it together and cuts the wire. This is more of a smoother cut that you can run your finger across, and you don't have to worry about getting cut with that. And you can also, strip that thinner gauge wire. Going to be a lot easier. And you can also, if you wanted to, use those cutters there on the front to cut wire. But honestly, I would recommend, if you're going to use them for cutting wire, move it back down here. You get a clean cut, and you don't have to use as much force since you got those nice long handles, and you're closer to the rivet point on the pliers. So overall, NWS does seem to make some quality tools. And like I said before, kind of left them on the back burner for a while, and finally decided to try them out to see what they were all about. And they, like I said, they make some very nice, high-quality tools. Like I said, pretty much on all of their comfort grip versions and the VDE versions, they all come with that tether attachment, so it's not just limited to insulated tools. So if you don't need them, you can, still have a tether attachments on just the regular comfort grip versions of the tool. Now, I'm not 100% sure if they make these in a dipped grip. If that's what you're looking for, I would have to research that more. But like I said, I know that they make a comfort grip version of this and the insulated version of this. Now, I think they only make the insulated version with this chrome finish onto it. It's kind of like a matte chrome finish that they seem to have on all of their insulated tools. That just seems to kind of be like the standard. Now, if you venture off into some of the other brands that rebrand some NWS, like I know Philo off the top of my head, I don't think they have any tools that are chrome plated. I could be wrong for their like VDE line of tools and things like that. I think they're all kind of like that matte black oxide finish that they have on just their standard comfort grip versions that you would see of NWS pliers. But I think NWS pretty much chrome plates, or has that matte chrome finish on all of their VDE pliers, so it'll stand up a little bit better to corrosion. But one thing to note about that is they obviously have to chrome plate it after they have sharpened the knives, so you may or may not see a little bit difference in performance when you're comparing it to a tool that is not chrome plated. The one that's not chrome plated might strip and or cut a little bit easier than the chrome plating. So that's one thing to note about the chrome plated tools. But with that being said, that's all I have left for this video. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. And as always, there will be a couple of links in the description where you can find out some more information about these from NWS themselves. And I will also have some links in the description below if you are looking to purchase these for yourself. If you want to go ahead and check those out. But with that being said, that's all I have. Thanks for watching.